Hi. It was 26 below this morning when I woke up. I'm not kidding. And it's supposed to get up to a high of 9 below today. My dog still needs to walk, and so I'm going to show you today how I make my dog booties. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I put the dog booties on, because it has to be an enjoyable experience for the dog. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this. This is Greta. We rescued her 5 years ago. She doesn't talk about her experiences or her past, nor does she talk about her age, but we think she's probably around 10 or 11 right now. She has been an absolute delight and has just brought so much joy and so much fun into our lives. And so to protect those little feet of hers, I'm going to show you, first of all, how I make the pattern, and then how to sew the booties, and then also how to put them on. So here's how I make the pattern. Stay. You want to draw around your dog's foot just to make a rough sketch, and you want to have wiggle room, so make it kind of bigger than what you probably think you're going to need. And then also, I'm going to zoom in here. Probably not going to be able to see this real well. I'll show you better up in my studio, the finished product. But you want to flare it out at the bottom just a little bit, just so they have a little bit easier to get them on and off. I clean the pattern up a bit. This inner sketch is my dog's foot, and then I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I also took my ruler and just squared off the toe, and that is going to be placed on the fold. The other items needed for this project, I do reinforce the bottom of the bootie with just a circle, and I happen to cut these out with my Sizzix Big Shot, but use a glass or whatever you have to draw around to get 4 circles. This particular fabric is from an old tent that I just kind of kept because I love the strength of it. But you can certainly use like blue jeans. That would be a great, if you have a pair of old blue jeans that you don't mind cutting up, that would be a great item also. Not only does this add strength to the bottom of the bootie, but it also prevents some of the slippage, because the fabric that you want to use, this is a polyester fleece. Another name for it is like a polar fleece, and I picked this up at just my local fabric store. This is slippery, and so this really does help the bottom of the bootie. Also, pick a bright color for the fleece. Greta's collar happens to be red, so I love her in little red the red boots, but the red also helps in case you lose one along the walk, you can easily find it. The Velcro that is needed for these is a 1-wrap Velcro. I got this just at Walmart in the craft section. This particular Velcro wraps and adheres to itself. This is super handy to have on hand. I love it for just organizing cords. It's just an easy way to keep the cords, bunched together, but then it's easily can be released. And so that is the Velcro that you need. The next step is actually cutting out the booties, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then the sewing starts. I have cut my pattern piece out, and I have laid it on the fold of the fabric. I just folded this fleece, and so I'll have the fold right here on this edge, and I butted the top or the toe part of the pattern right up to the fold. And so this is the area, and I pinned it, and this is the area that I will be cutting. And I have 4 of them, so I'll show you what they look like after they're cut out. All my booties are cut out, and they get to kind of look like a funny little shape. I also have laid out the circles where I want the placement to be. I lay them about 1 inch below the toe fold, and I'll be using a very short stitch on my sewing machine to make sure that they stay real secure. And so I'm going to be doing the sewing, and I'll be back to show you the Velcro placement. The circle has been stitched on, and I went around twice just to make sure it's secure. The next step, of course, is the Velcro. The Velcro is laid with the fuzzy or the felt side down, and I lay it about a ½ inch, or kind of where you curve it here for the foot or for the bootie, and about a ½ inch away from the circle. And I start it right kind of in the center of the bootie. And the stitch that I'm going to be using to keep this secure is I am going to kind of drew it out here. I'm going to be doing like a square, and then I'm going to be sewing an X through the square. I'll do it in a lighter color thread so that you can see what it looks like when I'm all done. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the Velcro to the booties. And I use about a 7-inch strip of Velcro for a golden retriever size boot. Of course, if you have a smaller dog, you can adjust that down to a shorter Velcro strip. But I'm going to go ahead and sew these, and then I'll be back and show you how I'm finishing them up. Now you can kind of see what I mean by drawing the X, or sewing the X on the little piece of Velcro. You want to make sure you still have plenty of room on this side for your seam. To sew the seam, it's the easiest thing to do is to close this little Velcro up on itself and just roll it up. That way it stays securely in place while you do sew that seam. And then you go ahead and you match up the sides, fold it where the fold is, and I'm going to be doing my ½ inch seam. I think I'm going to again use a smaller stitch, so I'm going to adjust that, and I'm also going to sew twice. I'm going to sew on the inside of my ½ inch seam, so it'll be a ½ inch and probably about a ¼ inch. And then I'm going to trim them, and then you'll be able to see what it looks like when it's all sewn. And then the next and the final step is just turning it right side. You have it stitched twice along the sides, and so I just kind of get in there and work it a little bit and just flip it around. I do use my poker just to get the corners of the toes out a little bit. And it looks like this. Then you can go ahead and unroll the little Velcro piece, and that'll go around, and I firmly tighten it onto my dog. And so Greta's going to be so excited. Next I'm going to show you how I put the booties on. So she'll be the star of the show on that. So I'll be doing that next. And you want the experience. You want your dog to have a good experience putting the booties on. Because if it's a good experience and he recognizes it, or she knows that it's going to be a fun experience, then it's not such a struggle trying to get these things on their feet. And so I basically like her to lay down, and I just give her lots of love and lots of rubs. And she pretty much falls asleep when I put them on. And then she also knows that she gets to go for a W when we're all done. So what I like to do is she just kind of holds her feet right up for me. You're such a good girl, Greta. You're such a good girl. But pet her, make it nice and snug. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want them to fall off. And get that Velcro nice and snug. And give her some more loves. You're such a good girl, Greta. You're so good. The back feet, see if I can get her flipped around a little bit here. Kind of the same way. Can you see this back foot? Probably not. Hang on here. Let me see if I can adjust a little bit. Okay, back foot, the same way. So she knows that she's being a good girl. Put it on and just tightly secure it. I'm going to get the other two on, and then we're going to go for a walk. Thanks for watching. Bye.